Custom home design and construction is based in relationship. The best experiences in custom home design and construction are based in really good relationships. Mary and I met at one of the two homes that we had on the 2012 Central Washington Tour of Homes in Yakima, and felt immediate connection. She and her husband David saw the other home we had on the tour and really liked it. Before long, they asked me to help them design their home, and of course I said yes, and we started off on an adventure to build a dream. Mary and David found a wonderful site. It was an infill location, so David could bicycle to work at the college. It was in an old orchard, which is pretty typical in Yakima. There's a lot of old orchard space there. And it had a slope with a southern view of the valley. Now, this was perfect for passive solar design and earth-coupled efficiency. And the view was in the right direction. So often in Yakima, the view's to the west, and that proposes some pretty big challenges to making a home comfortable. Now, the challenge that we had was to meet their very progressive and ambitious goals on $200 a square foot. Heard this before tonight. Now, the only way I know to do that is in a team approach with a builder. Steve Weiss, trying to get back to the microphone here. Steve Weiss was our first choice and Mary and David's first choice, and he was up for the challenge and excited to join. So we started off with the four of us. One of Steve's first suggestions was to bring in Ted Clifton Sr. for energy modeling, and I agreed, and then proposed that we bring in even more team members and do a design charrette. Now, integrated design is quite popular with public and commercial projects, but not so much yet for residential. But everybody was up to it, and a meeting was set, and Ted, Paul from AirFX, Jeff from Ellensburg Solar, Don from Jordan Energy, Steve, Mary and David, and I had a site visit meeting and then spent about 3 hours around the dining room table brainstorming ideas. Some of the decisions that were made around that table I would not have made on my own, so it does take a little bit of humility to go about it this way, but there were enough synergies arrived at that we saved about $30,000 on the project. And David was so pleased at the end of the meeting, he leaned back and said, "I think I need a cigarette." Now, Yakima is a really close-knit community. I've been doing custom homes over there for about 25 years, spending a couple days every month there, and I'm still thought of as an outsider in many circles. So it was important to everybody, especially to me, that this home have a very rich infusion of local flavor. Well, Providence shined on us. Steve heard about an Apple storage shed out in Cowiche that was going to be taken down, and approached them and asked if he took it down if he could have the materials, and they agreed. So he and Jeff from Ellensburg Solar went out one day and basically pulled it down with a pickup truck. They notched the bottom of the poles, hitched a pickup truck to it, and it all came down in one fell swoop. Very little damage. I wish all demolition was that easy. It also provided some wonderful materials for the house. The metal roof was repurposed as siding on part of the building, and the wood beams and rafters were used both on the exterior as porch supports and trellises, and then sawn to use on the interior as wall cladding and to fill in the panels on the doors. Sandy Campbell of Intero Design helped pull some of the other finished details together, and the result was a warm, rustic, modern feel with a real sense of history in place. An old apple shed on an old apple orchard. Now, speaking of place, I'd like to revisit the site for a minute. The slope, which goes up from the street, the low end was at the street, really called for the garage to be under the main part of the house. Now, this posed a couple challenges to accessibility and aging in place, which seems to be another theme tonight. But they were both major design goals for the project. And so what we did was we pushed the house toward the back of the lot, allowing for more room up front for a long winding pathway through the landscaping to access the front door. It also allowed for gravity-fed septic at the front, which saves some money, and room for the small, just 2-ton geothermal system that was placed in the ground. And then for interior access, a future elevator was lined up on both levels with isolated framing in the floor, so they'd be the joists would be easily removed in the future, and the required power in place, but no upfront cost for that elevator, which is about a $20,000 ticket. Then we divided the main level into 2 sections. One section had all daily living needs on one wheelchair accessible level with 3-foot wide doorways and 5-foot turnarounds, a roll-in shower, and blocking for future grab rails in the bathroom. And then up 3 steps is a library that overlooks the great room, and 2 bedrooms and a bath. There's an outside door to the library, so that space can actually be set up really easily as a caregiver space or a rental apartment in the future, if the needs should arise. So we've come full circle. The house was on the 2014 Central Washington Tour of Homes just 2 months ago. It was very well accepted, very well liked. We did it kind of like the Green Home Tour. We set up the team members as docents to educate people as they came through. This was much different than any of the other homes on the tour. The clay walls were popular. People were petting the walls. And at the end of the last day, Mary and I were in the kitchen shedding a few tears for reaching this end of our journey. And she offered my most treasured compliment, and that was that I had imagined the home that had always been there into reality. And it's a wonderful compliment and touches my heart. Now, while the project came to an end, it was really a beginning, because we not only created a home, we also strengthened and changed a community. Most of the integrated design team has formed a cooperative business now. Leading Force Energy and Design Center of Yakima offers sustainable services, products, and education in the heart of Central Washington. We're having a grand opening December 5th, and would love for you to come check us out. And bonus, I now have an office in Yakima, so I'm that much closer to being considered a local. So it really is all about relationship. Land to building, spirit to physical, and people to people. I can definitively say that building a net positive home on a budget is possible with a team approach and a bit of humility. It's so worth it. Mary and David say they can't imagine doing it any other way. Just remember to build your team really early in the process and to work with people who make your heart sing. Thank you.